Welcome to Under the Checkered Flag. I'm your host, Kate, and I'm joined by my lovely co hosts, PozzA and Kelly. Before we get into this weekend's racing in Assen, I want to discuss Manu Gonzalez because it's been reported that he will be stepping in for the injured Ayagura at Trackhouse Racing at today's Aragón test. I'm excited by this news. I'm a big Manu fan. Apparently, they were considering both him and Diogo Moreira, but they do seem to have settled on Manu Gonzalez. Given this news, what do the two of you think it means in terms of Raul Fernandez, Ayagura, or any of the Aprilia's current riders? Because obviously they'll be having him test to get him in there and kind of test him out to see if Aprilia is a place for him in the future. So, what do you guys think?
I think Ayagura is safe. I don't think Trackhouse are going to get rid of a rider that they wanted for a long time just because he's injured. Unfortunately, it does mean less testing time for him, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, I think he's totally safe. I don't think he's at risk at all. They'll definitely want to keep him. Raul Fernandez, on the other hand, I definitely think he's at risk, and really, I want him to be at risk. Not in that way. Just I don't see the point in him staying in MotoGP. He has literally made no progress on that bike whatsoever, and it hits a point. I understand some people struggle on a bike, some people take a long time to adjust to things, and that's absolutely okay. But what he's been doing is not okay. He literally has moved nowhere. We're celebrating him finishing 15th, which I think is just genuinely wrong. Why are we celebrating a rider who has made absolutely no progress when there's so much space in that field for a rider who could do better? So yeah, with Manu coming into that test today, if he outperformed Raul, it doesn't look too good for Raul, and I really hope that Manu takes that place, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm not to like toot my own horn or anything too much, but I've kind of been thinking that I've been predicting that Gonzalez could step in at Trackhouse in place of Raul Fernandez for a few weeks now. So the fact that it's actually possible now, I feel like could be very interesting. I think Gonzalez does deserve a ride next year for sure. From what I've seen, Moreira turned down the test ride because of his connections with Yamaha. So I think it'll be interesting to see that if he's considered for the seat next year as well, if he turns it down for the same reason. But originally I was thinking, yeah, Gonzalez in to replace Fernandez. But I feel I've seen a quote from, I think it was Davide Brivio, saying that they want to keep Fernandez because of his potential. And in that case, it'll probably be more a case of if Jorge Martin does actually leave. But yeah, I'm excited to see what Gonzalez can do because I think he definitely deserves to be on the grid next year, and this is probably the first step to getting there.
That's really interesting about Diogo and Yamaha because, yeah, I hadn't heard that. And so it does make a lot of sense. And yeah, it'd be nice to see multiple rookies on the grid next year. So let's talk about the weekend now. Coming into the Moto3 race, I have to admit, it did look like, at least to me, that it would be another Rueda clean sweep, but it was anything but that. We had a really big group battle with, I think it was around 10 riders, all fighting at the front for the majority of the race. And it was just classic Moto3. We have to give a shout out to Cormac Buchanan. The Kiwi rider came home in 10th place, equal his best position so far. But the podium was pretty awesome because it had two rookies with Alvaro Carpe in third place and Maximo Quiles in second. Now, Quiles is just really, really impressing me because this was, I think, his fourth Moto3 race. It's just, yeah, incredible. But the top spot for the first time went to David Munoz, who took the lead in the final corner of the last lap, pinching the win from Keyless. It was just really impressive, and I am glad that we can talk about Munoz in a positive light for once. There were 500ths of a second between the top two, and overall it was pretty incredible. What did you guys think about this race?
Unfortunately, I had to watch it on replay, and I've ever been as pissed off that I had to miss a race for Scouts. My God. Yeah, I've been waiting for Munoz to win for so long, and it's literally been devastation for me every damn week. Um, like, nobody understands the actual desperation I have had to have this man on my podcast predictions, and I just couldn't do it because he hadn't had any like performance whatsoever. But yeah, this really shows that he does actually have something in him that isn't murderous. And I was so happy that he won, like genuinely delighted. Yeah, Keelan's on the podium was lovely as well. Honestly, I wasn't expecting him to be one of the better rookies, definitely not, but he's doing pretty damn good. And I'm sorry, Keelan, I'm sorry, I didn't understand your game. Alvaro Carpe in third, not really unexpected, just, for two rookies on the podium in Moto3, you're kind of like, whoa, that's a new one. Really happy for Cormac with his first top 10. That's really exciting and shows a lot for the incoming season. Yeah, I'm just devastated for Jacob Rulestone because at this point in his racing career, I kind of hope he wouldn't be having these DNFs. But that's just the way it is. It was overall a good race, but not actually the one I'd say was the best.
Yeah, it was a mechanical issue for Jacob Ralston, so very unfortunate for the Australian. Obviously, as a very non-biased Australian fan, that wasn't amazing to see. But yeah, it was a very good race between the looks like top 10. It was a group of the top 10 at the end. Yeah, as Kelly said, two rookies on the podium with Max Quiles and Alvaro Carpe. I'd just like to point out the fact that Max Quiles has only done 4 races this year, and he's within a race win of Alvaro Carpe in the Rookie of the Year standings, which is a bit mental to say. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. Aside from that, Cormac Buchanan, as we mentioned, was in 10th, and a few more rookies scored points, with Valentin Peroni in 13th and Ruche Moodley in 14th.
I knew Keelis was going to be good, but to be in contention for Rookie of the Year is just absolutely wild considering he came in so late in the season, even though we are around 7 and he's been here for 4. But to miss a couple of races straight off the bat and, yeah, just be up there podiuming is pretty darn awesome. Honestly, I thought it couldn't get much better than Moto3, but yet again, Moto2 proved me wrong. I don't know what it is about this year, but it's incredible. To start, we had a Turkish rider, a Belgian rider, and a Brazilian rider on the front row. And once it got underway, we did see some good battles. There was a little bit of friendly fire between Danny Holgado and David Alonso, with Holgado basically being out of control. I'm pretty sure he's going to get a penalty for that. But he just wipes out Alonso. And it was unfortunate because Alonso was doing well and had race pace, so it would have been really good to see him fighting. It was Slipstream City though, and we saw a photo finish between Deniz Oncu and Diogo Moreira. Obviously, I'm a Moreira fan, but you can't help be happy for Deniz. For Deniz. Taking the win by 0.003 of a second, it was the 5th closest finish in intermediate class history and the closest in the Moto2 era. Barry Bouters rounded out the podium for another solid result for the rider. Poz, I think it's probably best we start with you because I think you might be a little bit of a Deniz Oncu fan. What did you think of the race?
Yeah, in my completely unbiased opinion, I think that was probably one of the best Moto2 races I've ever watched for sure. I'm not going to go as far to say the best in history, but 0.003 between the top two at the line is just kind of insane, and once you're getting it done at the final corner around the outside is just almost the perfect move to get your first win. It was a good job from Moreira as well. He conserved his tyres just a bit better, and that's why he came on so strong so late. So it's good to see that he's sort of learnt from his biggest issue last year, which was burning them out. And yeah, seeing a Turkish, Brazilian, and Belgium rider on the podium, it's good to see. And also Senna Agius in 4th, so getting an Australian up there as well. It's just a good combination of 4 nations, and I think it's really good to see. And I think it's something we're going to keep seeing in Moto2 this year, which is really exciting.
Honestly, there's not really much I can say. I think Poz says it all. It's really nice to see Onju win something, especially with all the close calls that he's had. I think Poz told us a stat recently that if you add up all of Dennis's wins, it's only around half a second in between all of them. And that's with 5 wins, if I'm not wrong. And if you take away one of his 2023 wins, it's point 0.1 of his, sorry, 4 wins. And if you take away his 2023 win, that's 0.1 of a second. Absolutely insanity. This man, he doesn't know casual wins, but honestly, very, very cool. Honestly, instant between Alonso and Holgado was like, how what are you doing? What are you doing, mate? It's literally remnant of the incident between Alonso being in the wrong and then taking out Holgado. I don't know what these teammates are at, but it seems a bit scrappy. You need to tone it down a little bit, please, because my heart can't take it. I'm hoping that this, Onchu win kind of passes on a bit of luck to his KTM teammate when he comes back. If he comes back, please come back. But I'm hoping that passes on a little bit. I'm not expecting a win. I know it's a big jump and he's been injured, but maybe a podium. A podium would be nice, please. Please let that happen. And I'm also really happy about another Baltus and Moreira podium. So, yay. Happy race for me.
And on the topic of Colin Vire, it does look like he is aiming for a home Grand Prix return. So fingers crossed that he does get a good result. So Sprint Saturday, it showed really that it was going to be a masterclass by Marc Marquez. He took the win ahead of his brother Alex, and rounding out the podium was rookie Fermin Aldeguer. With Ayagura out, injured, I think it gives him quite a good amount of points for the Rookie of the Year competition, and maybe that, I know we all put Agura down right at the start of the year, but I do have to think that it's now going to start to lean in Ferman's favour, especially because he does have the superior bike. So it's, just one of the more interesting things to watch. It would be nice if Chantra could, get some points. I will hold out hope that he does one day, hopefully. But overall, there's not much to say just because I think Moto2 and Moto3 were so sensational. But what are your thoughts on the sprint?
Yeah, honestly, absolutely loved it. Once again, not my favorite race this weekend, but I had a good time. Joan Mir has continued on his tradition of not finishing the sprint races, which is it's depressing because I know it wasn't his fault, but my God, it's just so funny that it keeps going. Really funny. Yeah, not an unexpected winner, not an unexpected second place. There was a bit of scrapping between Morbidelli and Aldeguer this weekend that I really liked, given my agenda against one of them. But yeah, I'm really happy Aldeguer came out on top and finished on the podium. It's looking hot for him this season. He's looking good, and he is causing depression for another rider for me. So yeah, overall good race, good results, and a good climb up the field by Marco Bezzecchi from 21st, if I'm not wrong. So good stuff.
Yeah, I can't lie, I didn't catch a lot of the sprint. I only saw glimpses for reasons that we don't need to delve into. But the only thing I'd really add is how good it is to see the KTMs performing this weekend. Acosta, Vinales, and Binder were all in the points in the sprint, and were all in contention for points in the race, which we'll get into later. But yeah, from what I've heard, it wasn't a bad sprint, so hopefully we see more of them.
Let's look at Sunday. Sunday for the MotoGP cast was almost boring, I have to say. I feel terrible for saying that, but it did come after the two incredible races that we've already touched on. I think if it wasn't for that really good battle between Fermin Aldeguer and Franco Morbidelli, I would actually class it as boring. But one thing I've taken out of Sunday is I guess it's a really good news story because Pecco Bagnaia picked up third spot on the podium, but that's not why I'm so excited. I'm excited because he was quoted after the race as saying that they have found the front end feeling that he has been missing. Because I honestly thought he was going to be up there battling with Marc Marquez. I thought we were going to have a really good title battle this year. It does look like we're still getting one between Alex and Mark, but I wanted Pecco up there. So hopefully this front feeling is here to stay. Hopefully they'll build on it in the test today. And yeah, I just really want to see Pecco up there. How did you guys find the MotoGP Sunday?
Yeah, I'll agree with your wording and say that I found it pretty fucking boring. Sorry, I just did. Um, yeah, it just wasn't as entertaining as the other two races to me. And it wasn't really an unexpected podium. Well, maybe Bagnaia a little bit, but it's not generally an unexpected podium. Like, who's going to finish first and second. It's more of a matter of who finishes third and who finishes closer to like the top points. Um, but I'm glad Bagnaia found some pace at the end of that race. But it's just he's not in the right mindset. I think his mindset's just completely off, and that's costing him during races, which isn't ideal. But that's just the way it is. Pedro Acosta finally back up into the higher points, which is where he should be, and I'm happy that he's there. Honestly, the most entertaining part of this race was scrapping between Morbidelli and Aldeguer. My God, that got me excited. I'm glad it ended in no injuries and no crashes. I'm just not happy in the order that it finished in, but honestly, highly entertaining. I loved it, and this is a rookie putting moves on I'd say a pretty experienced rider. So it makes me laugh, and it makes me happy to see that happen. So I absolutely loved it. And Joan Mir has not crashed, guys. Joan Mir has not crashed. He finished this race, and he finished it very, very well. He finished seventh, which is Mir's best result since 2023, and I think Honda's best for a long time, if I'm not wrong, unless that was fifth back in 2023. But yeah, honestly, it was fun to see, and I'm happy that he hasn't fucking crashed. Oh wait, no, not Honda. Zarco exists. I meant the main Honda team, not LCR. Forget LCR. The main Honda team. Um, sorry, guys. I have a head cold and it's 6 in the morning. I feel like I get leniency here, but yeah, honestly, really happy for Mir, and I hope that continues on.
Yeah, it's good to see Honda finally in the fight for top tens. Uh, just like to go back to my point on KTM in the sprint race. As I said, with Acosta, Vinales, and Binder all fighting, Vinales and Binder both unfortunately crashed out, but Pedro Acosta managed to take fourth behind Marquez, and Bagnaia. So it's good to see that hopefully there's some progress being made with the KTMs. And A Bastianini scored some points as well with what I would presume was his late race pace. Yeah, fight between Morbidelli and Aldeguer was very entertaining to watch. Both of them happy to get their elbows out, which I think's pretty good to see. And I'm happy that Morbidelli ended up coming out on top, as unpopular as that opinion could be between us. But yeah, aside from that, the only other thing I can really see is the fact that Augusto Fernandez scored points and beat out both of the Pramac Yamahas in doing so. So, good result for him as well on a wild card.
Those are our thoughts on the races, which leave us with the new segment that we brought in a couple of weekends ago, being the rider of the weekend. So this is where each of us pick our rider of the weekend. It's one rider, can be from any class. Who wants to start?
I'll go ahead and share mine since I feel like everyone's probably going to be able to guess who it is anyway. Uh, I've said this in our chat already. I'm going to be shamelessly unbiased here, or shamelessly biased here, and I'm going for Deniz Oncu just because, again, around the outside at the last corner is just kind of mental. So he was strong all weekend. Was easily the best in the final sector in particular in Moto 2, and the fact that he actually managed to put a decent qualifying together after being quick in practice was very refreshing to see, and it's something I hope he can continue because it sets up good results, and he could use some of those. So yeah, that's my thoughts.
I feel like mine's a bit more unexpected. Not really, but it wouldn't be so many people would consider because he didn't actually finish on the podiums. But I have gone for Marco Bezzecchi in the MotoGP class. Um, honestly, he had that Aprilia had pace this weekend. Absolutely, it did. I think it did at least. He had a bad qualifying. He crashed out, and then his ride height device just gave up on him. And I was like, well, he's not going to get a good lap, and he didn't. Unfortunately, he finished 10th in Q1, which renders him P20 for the race. I said P21 earlier. I forgot Aragón isn't racing God's sake, it's too early in the morning for this. I can't do maths. Anyway, started 20th for the race, and yeah, he made up 12 positions in both races and finished 8th in the sprint and in the main race, which left him with points. Honestly, man was on an absolute flyer. People laughed at him. I know people in that server that laughed at him for getting that qualifying, and I know somebody in this podcast who also made a joke about him qualifying like that. But I don't know who had the last lap, but I'm pretty sure it was me. So he finished in points. He had amazing races and had some pretty nice overtakes. So yeah, he's definitely my rider of the weekend because he is showing some amount of talent that I haven't seen since 2023, which makes me so happy. And I hope it continues.
I'll round us out, and I have gone for Maximo Kilas just because, as we touched on earlier, it's incredible to see him fighting at the front. He did not win, but he was going up against Evan Munoz, and Munoz has the experience and definitely the talent, and we know he's a bit aggressive, but Keeler's being able to battle up the front, look so strong, finish second, and I mean, it's his second podium in a row, and he's so new to the class. I think, yeah, it's just got to be Keeler's for me, and I'm excited to see what he can do in the future as well. As always, thank you so much for listening. We will be back next weekend. If there's any, exciting things from the test that we think you should know, we'll pop it in next week's podcast. We'll also be looking ahead towards the Italian GP at Mugello, and yeah, just really excited for it. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.